Ever felt stuck between what your heart desires and what your mind tells you? Let's explore this paradox together. Do you feel paralyzed when faced with significant decisions? Do you weigh the pros and cons as soon as choices arises that takes you off your autopilot? Are you overwhelmed by your own logical thinking? Do distant dreams occasionally touch your heart? Have you ever received an inspiring idea that fills you with enthusiasm, only to have it quickly dismissed by your current circumstances or past experiences? Do this dismissal sometimes create a heaviness of resistance within you? You are not alone. I also used to be a prisoner of the trap of over-identifying and analyzing, letting my ego standing in the way of my desires. But the funny thing is, I used to be a decision maker of my heart's feelings. Until I settled to start a family, I used to make big and bold decisions quickly based on my so-called gut feeling. However, as life settled into routine, those everyday contrasts and their effects grew narrower and increasingly rare. It felt like life was spinning faster while I remained stationary, looking back at the passing year turning into years, plurals, realizing I was left behind at the station while the train raced forward without me. I didn't even consider stepping on the train, and even less to take the command of its destination. It wasn't until I found myself in an unpleasant situation that brought terrifying symptoms of burnout that this negative emotions between the life I was living and the life I desired became pretty obvious. And when this gap grew too wide, the dissatisfaction it caused awakened my dormant life force. My journey began reconnecting with the parts of myself and dimensions of my awareness and spirit that had yet to awaken in this lifetime anyway. This awakening was both exhilarating as I got in touch with my true self, but also challenging as it unleashed pent up anger. And that's when I truly started to reflect. All the significant decisions I made turned out to be my best, even though they were sometimes tense and filled with anticipation and occasional pangs of doubts. But now it seemed like crossroads became fewer and farther between, and the glaring doors revealing glimpses of different possibilities shone less clearly and often. This wasn't because I closed them, but rather because my comfort zone pushed them away. And I found myself asking, when did I stop trusting my feelings? When did I begin to prioritize other people's expectations and perspectives of success over my own intuition, choosing those familiar paths without risk instead of pursuing goals that beaconed from beyond the horizon, filled with all those desires and dreams? And as I started to look around, listening to colleagues and friends and my family, I noticed that pretty much everyone seemed to base their choices and paths on their current circumstances, often limiting themselves with collective opinions such as, that's not possible and it must be this way. And when I asked, what do you want? The answer was always a variation of, if I could wish, but, and this and that, all the things that were stopping them. And when I started to reflect why so many around me, yeah, me included, had replaced their desires with not even allowing ourselves to even let our dreams play a teeny tiny role of our decision making. I saw that many rarely consider their emotion guidance to enter the spotlight on the stage. Instead, so-called logic, influenced by collective needs, dominated the conversation? When did we stop listening to our feelings? When did we stop examining them, learn from them, and perhaps even allow them guide us towards our dreams, away from what hold us captive? Instead, we often escape from our feelings, pushing them down into our subconscious. And this creates hidden fears that weight us down like an anchor and serve as a constant reminder of the gap between what we truly want and what we allow to control us. And in moments of uncertainty, how do you typically respond? Do you learn? I encourage you to reflect on this. Do you lean into your feelings, or do you retreat them into overanalysis? What would your life look like if you embrace your feelings as guides rather than obstacles? I like to ask you this. If fear wasn't a factor, what bold decision would you make today? And I really encourage you to journal on this question, taking the first step of opening doors of possibilities by expanding your perspectives. And remember this, your voice is important. And if you like, I would be so glad if you would comment which bold decision you would love to take. This both pushes you a bit out of your comfort zone, affirming it by writing it. And also, I'm here to learn about your desires and struggles so that I can be a better service to you. How do you define success for yourself? Is it aligned with your true self, or has it been shaped by external expectations? What small step can you take today to reconnect with your intuition and start moving toward your dreams?